you're not going to get that every week. You're not going to get a long touchdown. You're not going to bank on that, but you're going to get volume here. You're going to get volume with Jerick McKinnon at 1.6, and even
get
Jeff
that
Wilson
every
week. You're not going to get a long touchdown.
2x.
You're not
Here's
going to
why I
bank on
think
that.
you're
But
going to
have
have to
get volume here. Have some exposure to Jeff Wilson. 2 running backs out. I'm not sure if San Francisco carries another running back behind McKinnon or Wilson on the roster. I can't imagine they're doing that right now. Jerick McKinnon, the past 2 years, his season's been cut short because of ACL injuries. The last thing San Francisco wants right now is another back to go down. And Jerick McKinnon has the tendency of going down for a long time with ACL problems. So Jeff Wilson is going to factor in this game somehow at 2x. Is he going to get the touchdown? Is he going to get more carries than Jerick McKinnon? I don't know. But you need to be wary of that because McKinnon is an injury liability, and the last thing they want to do is be out another running back.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's amazing how depleted San Francisco is now with all their guys going down, and it's just there. It couldn't be more set up for McKinnon and Wilson to get all these carries here. With especially Jimmy Garoppolo now, he's questionable to play in the game, and he has a high ankle sprain. I'm pretty sure that's what happened to him, and they're going to want to, regardless if he is. If he's playing or if he's out, they're going to want to rely on the running game, especially with all the receivers that are already out. Deebo Samuels is out. We don't know if George Kittle's going to play. Yep. So they're definitely going to rely heavily on Jerick McKinnon in that 1.6x. I totally agree with you. I think he provides a ton of juice there. So one of my guys, I took a little bit of a different approach here. These guys are not backups per se, but they're going to be guys who benefit from the injuries. So I was crapping on Melvin Gordon a couple shows ago about how he stinks and all this stuff. And he's proven me wrong so far these first couple of weeks of the season. Week 1, he had 18 total touches, 86 yards and a touchdown. And then in week 2, 21 touches, 84 yards and a touchdown.
Consistent.
And he, with the injuries that Denver has suffered with Drew Lock going down and now Cortland Sutton, their best wide receiver, he's now gone for the year. Like, the focus here is going to be the running game and Melvin Gordon, even with Drew Lock. Well, Drew Lock played the first game, was out most of the second game, but even still with that, Gordon was still the main focus of Denver's offense. And I think even now more so, he's going to be they're going to rely on him even more than they were before with the injuries to Drew Lock and Cortland Sutton. And Jerry Jeudy has been banged up a little bit too to start this season. So, I think at 1.5x, I don't know if that probably won't stay there for a while, especially with Locke and Cortland Sutton out for a decent amount of time here. But at this point, I think he's a really nice guy to get at this point with the injuries that Denver suffered.
Yeah, and you said it's not just backups too; it's other people that can factor in. Get out of here, fly. There's other people that can. Oh, I just dikembe'd that thing. That thing's dead. There's other people that'll factor into it too. He's on my. He's dead. We got him. That thing is huge. All right. But like Noah Fant is somebody who's going to see more targets, and he caught a touchdown from Jeff Driscoll last week. Or is it going to be Blake Bortles quarterbacking the Denver Broncos going forward? Who knows? But there are other players as well that can factor into it. And I've got another one, Hayden Hurst, tight end for the Falcons. I feel like we've mentioned him every week in the show since the start of NFL season. We're big Hayden Hurst guys. HH, brother. Hayden Hurst, though, if Julio Jones is questionable, or he is questionable, even if he plays, last week we saw it, not effective. What do you have? 2 catches for like 24 yards, dropped the touchdown in the end zone. He'll be out there for a decoy. He's not going to be 100% if he does play. And I thought about maybe going receiver here, Russell Gage, who's been great. Yeah, he has a high multiplier, and he's either caught a touchdown or had double-digit targets in each of the first 2 weeks. He's someone I'm looking at. But I'm going to go Hayden Hurst because the Chicago Bears have not allowed a touchdown to wide receivers this season. They have not. They've done pretty well. 26 catches on 45 targets for opposing receivers against this Bears secondary. They're defending the receiver well. Granted, they haven't played a receiving core like this Falcons receiving core with Jones and Ridley and Gage, but they have held their own so far in that department. Tight ends, different story. 16 targets, 13 catches, 110 yards, 1 touchdown to tight ends in the first 2 weeks. That's how teams have really been beating them down the field, utilizing play action, getting to the second level, and attacking their weak linebacking core. Now, Hayden Hurst isn't a stud. He hasn't had big numbers the first 2 weeks, right? First week, I think it's on your screen there. No, it was on your screen. I just didn't read it because I'm a big dummy. On the season, 13 targets, 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Last week, though, he really came out of his shell. 5 catches on 8 targets, 72 yards, and a touchdown. 26.69 nice total fantasy points with his 1.7x. If he had the 1.7x. And I actually think that was exactly his multiplier. So I'm on Hayden Hurst. Yep. I think it's a great matchup for him. They utilized him with Julio clearly as a decoy last week. He wasn't himself. And expecting a lot of points out of this Falcons offense like we've seen in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Hayden Hurst is, we talked about him, I forget it was last week or the week before, but he's like, he just didn't get the opportunities in Baltimore behind Mark Andrews. And now as the clear number 1 starting tight end with Atlanta, and obviously we know Atlanta likes to throw the ball and Matt Ryan likes to target tight ends, he's going to be a guy that you can definitely rely on a little bit here. And yeah, especially with the injuries now. So I'm on board with you there. The next guy that I have is, he is a beneficiary, however you say that word. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Of Christian McCaffrey's injury. I don't think, Davis is the backup there. I don't have a lot of confidence in him being a guy that will provide a lot of, production for you out of that spot. So I think Carolina is going to resort to putting the ball in Teddy Bridgewater's hands and they're going to be throwing the ball. And one of the guys I'm looking at now is Robbie Anderson, who they picked up from the Jets in the offseason. And he's had a tremendous first 2 weeks of the season where he's been over 100 yards in both games. And in total, he's had 15 catches, 223 yards, and a touchdown in these first 2 games. And I think, with that type of consistency that he's shown, and the fact that McCaffrey was healthy in those 2 games, and they're gonna have to be throwing the ball more. And I think Robbie Anderson at a 1.55x multiplier is a really nice value play to get. He's not, I wouldn't say he's a better receiving option than DJ Moore is, but Moore is at a 1.3x. So
tournament play, Robbie Anderson, when he scores, he goes deep. He doesn't have baby 5-yard touchdowns. He's got 75, 85-yard touchdowns.
Yep. And Bridgewater, and we've seen that he's already gotten onto a nice chemistry there with Teddy Bridgewater. So I think they're going to definitely look to open up the passing game more and target. And even with them passing the ball, McCaffrey is usually their number 1 guy that they're looking for in the passing game anyway.
Yeah.
So
you're replacing a guy who had 400 touches last year. That's 25 touches a game. Quick maths right there. Thank you to all my supporters who didn't think I could do it. I just proved you wrong. Anyways, 25 touches you have to replace. He gets the ball 25 times a game. That's going somewhere.
And
that's volume. And like you said, I don't think Mike Davis is that guy. I think Davis is going to figure around 10, 15 touches. He factored more as catching the ball out of the backfield, and he did it pretty well. But not really running the ball. I think he had 7 or 9 catches last week. I think he's going to get 10 to 15, but I do agree. I think he's not Christian McCaffrey. You're not giving the
not
ball
even close.
Yeah, they're not running the ball in Carolina because that's their system. They're running the ball because Christian McCaffrey is their
system. And Bridgewater has shown he's played pretty well so far this year. And he was great with the Saints. And so, yeah, I think they're going to be looking to open up the offense and throw the ball. And Robbie Anderson at 1.55x he's an option that I like there. I see Trent here says never trust Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, but you can't really trust Trent with anything, actually. So that's just my one man's opinion. Sasha agrees with me. My dog's screaming, barking. I don't know if you can hear, but she likes the Robbie Anderson pick. I can hear. I can't wait to move out and get away from that damn dog. All right, let's move to single game here. This is tomorrow. Dolphins, Jaguars. I'm excited for this game. There's going to be a lot of points in this game. It's going to be fun. You have the beard and Fitzmagic, and you've got the mustache and Gardner Minshew. I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of points thrown around. Two gunslingers who don't really care where they throw the ball as long as they're throwing it, which I love to see. And I'm going with a Dolphin tight end. Oh, you go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Well, I'm very excited. I mean, these two teams are not good, but they have two quarterbacks that are just electric to watch, whether they're doing great things or terrible things on the field. So we're going to be seeing, so I think it's going to be like, it's kind of like a Jameis Winston type of game where we're going to see great plays down the field, and then we're going to see horrific interceptions being thrown, and it's just going to be entertaining to watch. So yeah, go ahead with your guy that you like for this game.
All right. I love Mike Gesicki. It's fun to say. He's Big Mike Gesicki. He's kind of like Mike Wazowski, but, he's big. He's got two eyes, and he's not a monster. At 2.95x in your champion spot, he should be there. As a flex, he's still got plenty of juice at 195. 11 targets, 8 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown so far. Oh, no, excuse me. That was last week alone. 25 standard points. If you had him in the flex at 195, that's just over 48 and all the way up to almost 74 points with his champion multiplier of 295. Last Sunday is going to be quick. Jaguars couldn't defend the tight end. Jonnu Smith in the Titans, all over them. 9 targets, 8 catches, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think Mike Gesicki is a much better tight end all around than Jonnu Smith. Maybe he doesn't have his wheels, but Mike Gesicki is going to get a lot of run, especially with Devontae Parker maybe missing this game tomorrow night.
Totally agree. I think he is going to be a great option, and that was his best game of his career last week against Buffalo, and I think he's going to build on that. So the guy I got here is Keelan Cole, who has been an under-the-radar nice option here for the Jaguars in these first 2 weeks of the season. He has had a touchdown in each of the first 2 games. Week 1 against the Colts, 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. And this past week against Tennessee, 6 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. And I think with DJ Chark, he's questionable to play in this game. Keelan Cole is most likely going to be the number 1 option. And with the way they have, Trent likes that one. There you go.
Yeah, the only reason he likes it is because I'm sure that he was on the waiver wire and season long last night getting Keelan Cole. Oh, I'm going to change my season by getting Keelan Cole. Sit down, you bum. Keep going, Kyle.
But yeah, DJ Chark is questionable to play, but so he's going to be that number 1 option. And we've seen with Jacksonville this year, I mean, Minshew has just been throwing the ball all over the place, and I don't think that's going to stop. And I think Minshew is going to be throwing the ball all over the place in this game. Miami got absolutely scorched by Josh Allen last week. And I think they're going to let Minshew throw. And I think Keelan Cole is going to be a big beneficiary of that. And I screwed up the pronunciation of the word, but it's okay. And Miami's given up the 3rd most fantasy points allowed to opposing receivers. No, small sample size, I know, but I love Keelan Cole for this game. 2.1x as the flex, 3.15x as the champion. I think he could be a huge boost to your lineup.
Agreed. And Trent's talking about target share. It's just crazy how Trent plays season-long football like he's playing DFS, but doesn't really play DFS. So come on, Trent, what are you doing here? That's a DFS term. That's a DFS stat. We don't care about that for season long, all right? Get with it. Start depositing. Maybe get a referral firm bonus of $20 because that's still going on. You get 20, your friend gets 20, everyone's happy, and then you can actually start playing fantasy football like an adult. All right, Trent? I'm talking to you. Don't make me give out your home address right now because I will. or your phone number, as my dog's just chirping me in the background, and it's really getting on my nerves. All right, full slate must start. I got to be loud because my dog is really amping me up. James Conner, awful week 1, came out with that injury. You saw Benny Snell come in his place. You thought maybe James Conner's not the lead back anymore in Pittsburgh. After what Benny Snell did, James Conner can't stay healthy. High ankle sprain, comes back last week. 16 carries, 106 yards, touchdown, 35.87 super draft fantasy points at 1.7x. How is he at 1.7x after that? And after Benny Snell's game in week 2? I don't know. The super draft brass got to get it screwed on here, all right? Whoever's making these multipliers got to get it screwed on, because this is a travesty. Do not disrespect James Conner. But this also kind of tells me James Conner's going to have a bad game. It's going to be a Benny Snell game. But no, you're starting James Conner. Houston has gotten lit up by the run the first 2 weeks of the season. 33 carries, 168 yards, and a touchdown week 1. Week 2, 21, 176, another touchdown, averaging almost 6.5 yards per carry they're allowing. They're going to want to run the ball. Ben's getting old. He's getting tired. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be slinging it. He's got Juju. Deontay is there. He's had a pretty good season, week 1 and 2. Week 2, he really blew up. But James Conner in a great position here. Doesn't need a lot of touches to really gain value here. You saw it. 16 carries last week, 106 yards, can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he's in a great spot, and I think he needs to be in most lineups with that juice and his production from last week.
Yeah, and I think that they're gonna want to rely on James Conner with They don't want Roethlisberger throwing the ball all over the field, and they want to save his arm for the season here. And Conner has shown that he can be a Pro Bowl caliber running back when he's healthy. So I totally agree with that pick. For me, I'm going with the Cowboys rookie receiver, CeeDee Lamb, who has had a very nice start to his rookie season, where he has caught 5 passes for 59 yards in week 1 against the Rams. And then in their epic comeback against the Falcons in week 2, 6 catches for 106 yards. And I think that, this matchup with Seattle is it favors him really well with how bad Seattle has gotten ripped apart in the secondary in their first 2 matchups of the season, where against Atlanta, they gave up 100 yards to 3 different receivers. They gave up to Julio Jones, Russell Gage, and Calvin Ridley. And then we just saw this past week, Julian Edelman went crazy, his career high in receiving yards against Seattle's defense. And Seattle, they've had a nice start to the season, but they have not been able to stop anybody in the passing game. And I think CeeDee Lamb he's going to join that list of receivers to get 100 yards against Seattle. And, Dak has been throwing it all over the place. And yeah, I think at 1.65x, he's been the number 2 guy. Gallup has been number 3 for them. Yeah. So I think he's going to be a really nice option for you this week. So yeah, I'm going.
It could be a big day for all the Cowboys receivers, like you said, Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, but get that 1.6 while it's hot.
Exactly. Right.
Can you hear my dog? No. Is it that bad? Because I am furious, Kyle. I'm furious. I'm not going to make the joke, though. That clearly is there, but I won't do it. Hand up. Ooh. Credit to me. Not going to make the joke. Not doing it. That's called growth. My stack of the weekend, it's going to be involving the Cardinals and the Lions. The highest total in most sports books by far. It's 55 points is the point total for this game. They're expecting a lot of points early and often. I'm going Kyler at 1.15. Drake at 1.4, Hopkins at the same as Murray's, and Marvin Jones at 1.8. I'll try to go through this quick. Kyler, we know what he's doing. He's pretty much a stack on himself. He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. Trubisky and Aaron Rodgers picked apart this defense. Kyler Murray is going to have no problem doing the same. Kenyon Drake, kind of getting it going. He's a little off and on. I think his highest is about 19 points so far this season with this multiplier factored in. But Detroit has got a soft ground game just as much as a soft passing game, as it pains to say it. The Bears, 24 for 124. Packers, 31 carries, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, nothing else needs to be said. But quickly, Marvin Jones, Oh, nope, he's on the back of this. He's on the back of this, trying to get this done quick. If Kenny Galladay's playing, I like this a lot better. Marvin Jones has still gotten production, not a whole lot, but with Kenny Galladay there, hopefully he's healthy. It's going to draw some attention away from Marvin Jones, who has that 1.8x juicy multiplier. Stafford to Jones, book it, 70-yard touchdown, and you're just going to watch yourself make money.
Yep. Jones has had moments the last few years with Detroit, so I would not be surprised if he had a big game at all. So quickly for me, I'm going with the Tennessee Titans and Minnesota Vikings. This stack with Ryan Tannehill, Dalvin Cook, and Jonnu Smith. So Ryan Tannehill has had a really nice start to the season. He lit up the Jacksonville defense in this past week. And he's going up against a Minnesota Vikings defense that who got lit up by Aaron Rodgers in week 1. And again, Phillip Rivers had some success against them last week. So I think Ryan Tannehill is going to put up some numbers for Tennessee. And then Dalvin Cook, I think with how horrible Kirk Cousins looked last week against the Colts, I think they are just going to want to run the ball, and they're going to just put the ball in their best player's hands, and that's Dalvin Cook. And I think they're going to want to focus on the running game, and Cook is going to be a beneficiary of that. I've said that word 3 times already. I don't know how that's happened. But I think Cook is going to be a really nice option for you. Jonnu Smith at 1.4x, another really good option. Mo Alley Cox, the guy that nobody knows for the Colts, tight end who caught 9
nobody knows. Nobody knows him. I knew him, Kyle.
For nine catches for over 100 yards last week as the tight end for the Colts, and he lit up the Vikings defense. Jonnu Smith is a better player than him. I think Jonnu Smith is going to have just as a successful week as Mo Alley Cox did, and Jonnu Smith has looked good so far this year.
Yes, 2 touchdowns last weekend.
Exactly, yep. 2 touchdowns last week against Jacksonville. Minnesota, bad defending tight ends. So
big bad.
Yeah, nothing else that needs to be said, other than the fact I'm never going to say the word beneficiary ever again.
Well, if you don't do that, myself and all of our listeners and viewers will be beneficiaries of that, because we don't want to have to hear you try to sound that word out. So now Kyle is on the injured list. He's on IR. He's suspended because of using the word beneficiary, and he is added to players. You can start me in his place, and I will perform better and not say the word beneficiary with any sort of problem at all. I'm Squish. I am Squish. That is Kyle. Thank you for watching Fantasy Gainz. We're going to win you some money.
You're damn right we are.